Hi, friends. Welcome back to the Her Podcast. I'm Coach Mindy, and I'm so glad you're here today. We've talked about detox, nutrition, and lifestyle tools in past episodes, but today we're diving into something that honestly influences all of those, and that's your mindset. I've seen it over and over again in coaching sessions. A woman can have the perfect meal plan, the right supplements, and still feel stuck because her thoughts are working against her. So today, we're going to do a mindset reset. How your thoughts and beliefs affect stress, your hormones, detox, and overall healing. We'll explore the science of how your brain communicates with your body, how mindset influences cortisol, and practical ways you can rewire your thinking towards peace, gratitude, and growth. By the end, I want you to see that mindset isn't something that's just nice to have. It's foundational. It's the soil your health grows from. So let's dive in. So first, let's start with why mindset matters so much for your body. When we talk about mindset, we're talking about the way you interpret and react to things that are happening in your life. Two people can face the same situation. One feels crushed, the other feels challenged and grows through it. What's the difference? It's not the circumstances, it's their mindset. So the first thing is stress and perception. Research shows that the way we perceive stress changes the way our body responds. People who view stress as a challenge instead of a threat have a healthier cortisol rhythm and better resilience. In one study, those with a stress is enhancing mindset showed lower harmful cortisol spikes than those who saw stress as purely negative. In fact, your body doesn't know the difference between stressors, so it doesn't understand if you're excited or if you're stressed. I was listening to a podcast one time and I heard the speaker say that before she goes on stage in front of a big crowd, she used to get totally freaked out, right? She was so stressed out, she was sweating, and she was just out of control, on the verge of panic attacks. And so she started working on her mindset and she started saying things like, I'm so excited to be here. I can't wait to get on this stage. This is so much fun. And she literally changed her stress levels just by changing her perception. So there's this thing called growth versus fixed mindset. Carol DeWick did research on growth mindset, and she did it and she applied it to students. But it applies to our health too. So if you believe your health is stuck, that you're just someone who's always tired or always anxious, your brain stops looking for solutions. Think of that old saying, what you think about, you bring about. But if you believe you can change, your mind will literally stay open to healing. In one study, students who practiced mindset thinking had lower cortisol under stress than those who didn't. So next, let's talk about gratitude and how gratitude can rewire the brain. Gratitude is one of my favorite things, and I talk about it a lot. And it's because it's one of the simplest mindset tools, but one of the most powerful. Studies show that daily gratitude practices reduce stress, improve mood, and even lowers inflammatory markers. Spiritually, it aligns with truth, right? So the Bible reminds us that gratitude is a gateway to peace. In Philippians 4:6, it says, do not be anxious about anything, but in everything be by prayer and petition, with thanksgiving, present your requests to God. Did you know that being grateful and thankful is mentioned over 150 times in the Bible? That's how important it is. So mindset isn't fluff, it's chemistry. The way you think can either trigger stress hormones or release healing ones. So let's go deeper into the how. At the center of your body's stress response is a little trio called the HPA axis, which is your hypothalamic, your pituitary, and your adrenal axis, so HPA. So here's how it works. Your hypothalamus which is deep in your brain, constantly scans your environment asking, am I safe? When it senses danger, whether that danger is real or imagined, it signals the pituitary gland. The pituitary gland releases a hormone called ACTH that travels through your bloodstream to your adrenal glands. Your adrenal glands are those small little organs on top of your kidneys. Then your adrenals release the cortisol, which is, again, your main stress hormone. Now, cortisol often gets the bad rap, right? But it isn't in itself all bad. It's what gets you out of the bed in the morning. It gives you energy. It helps regulate blood sugar and even reduces inflammation short term. But here's the catch. Your brain doesn't know the difference between real danger, like you're swerving to miss a deer on the road, and perceived danger, like worrying about a meeting or replaying a hurtful conversation. So if your thoughts are constantly looping in fear, worry, or what ifs, your brain keeps sounding that alarm, and it's dumping cortisol in your system every time. So that's what's called the fight or flight response. Your body gets ready to run or fight, but here you are just sitting at your desk, right? So now we've got panic attacks starting and stress and worry and all of those things. So when that system stays turned on, when that cortisol system, that fight or flight turns on, that's when we end up with all the trouble, right? So that's when we have things like hormonal imbalances. Chronic cortisol suppresses progesterone and disrupts estrogen and your thyroid balances, which often leads to things like fatigue, cycle changes, and stubborn midsection weight. It causes digestive issues. Cortisol slows digestion and reduces stomach acid. That means food doesn't break down as well and detox gets sluggish. It disrupts our sleep. High cortisol levels keeps you wired but tired. So you're awake at night, right? And you're exhausted in the morning. Your liver gets overloaded. The liver has to metabolize all those extra stress hormones, and it leaves less energy for detoxing the other compounds. So think of it this way. Your body, when you are in fight or flight, is literally in survival mode. It's not worrying about things like losing weight, right? What if it needs it? It's not worried about sleeping. You're in danger. You need to stay alert. It's not going to worry about digesting your food. So now we have constipation and other issues. So when your body is in survival mode, it's doing just that. It's surviving. Okay. So a 2019 study in the Frontiers of Endocrinology found that chronic HPA axis activation is directly linked to metabolic syndromes like anxiety and thyroid dysfunction. But here's the helpful part. Your mindset can flip that switch. When you use gratitude, prayer, breathing, or even reframing your thoughts, your brain sends a message that says, I'm okay, I'm safe. And that's going to bring down your cortisol levels. Okay. That message activates the parasympathetic nervous system, which is your rest, digest, and repair mode. So it's in that state where your sleep deepens, your hormones rebalance, your digestion improves, your detox pathways open up again. So literally, mindset tells your body whether to fight or whether to heal. Super, super powerful. Let me walk you through what I call the mindset reset framework. Simple tools you can start using right now. The first tool is awareness. The exact number of thoughts per day it's impossible to calculate, right? But estimates range from 6,000 to 70,000 thoughts a day going through our minds, with a common finding that between 80% and 95% of those are negative. So that means that we have this constant recycling of negative thoughts, right? You can have anywhere from 4,800 to 56,000 negative thoughts a day. And that's not precise, but that's a huge number, right? So additionally, 95% of those thoughts are repetitive. meaning that they are not unique ideas, but a cycle of the same thought from the day before. One of our superpowers is that we are the only one who can actually learn how to control our thoughts. No one else can do this for us. And how we do that is we start paying attention to what we are thinking and speaking over ourselves. So notice when you say things like, I'm so tired, or I'll never get this right, or I am just fat. I don't know how to do that. I am not smart enough. All of those things, right? So when you start thinking those things, you have to ask yourself, is this true? Is this kind? Is this helping me heal? If not, you need to change the channel. So when I think of our minds, I think of like a TV station, right? So when my kids were little and they used to have bad dreams, I'd come in and I'd say, pretend that your mind is a TV and you have the remote, and change the channel. You're going to change the channel from that bad thought and you're going to start looking at and remembering good thoughts. It's the same idea as when we have these bad thoughts, when we have these lies that come in, because most of these lies, most of these thoughts that are often repetitive are based in fear, and fear is a liar. So if that is true, which we know, right? Fear is a liar and it's not true. So when that happens, then we have to look at what is true. So when we say things like, I'm never going to lose this weight. Yes, you will. We just have to concentrate on our foundations, right? We have to look at what's going on in our body so that we can get there. You've lost weight before, so let's lose weight again. When we start thinking of all of these negative things that are coming in, we have the remote in our hand. So we can just change the channel. And we change the channel towards gratitude. We change the channel towards a thought that is true. And that helps replace that negative thought with a positive thought. And that gets our mindset on the right course. So, reframing. Reframing is things like when we say things to ourselves like, this is so hard. This is so, I'm never going to be able to do this. This is ridiculous, right? When we change that from this is so hard to this is challenging, but I think I can grow through it, or this is different than what I'm used to. Studies show that this kind of reprisal lowers our cortisol levels and increases resilience. Then, of course, gratitude practice. Every day, when you get up in the morning, if you write down 3 to 10 things that you are thankful for every day, they don't have to be big things, right? Sometimes it's just, thank you for my coffee. Well, that's like every day. Thank you for my coffee. I love that. Thank you that I got out of bed for today. Thank you for my family. Thank you for the sunshine. Whatever it is, it doesn't have to be hard. It just has to be thankful. So then you meditate on those things. Gratitude calms your nervous system. It strengthens your immune function and rewires your brain towards positivity. Then, of course, there's faith. When stress comes, speak truth out loud, right? Verses like, I can do all things through Christ who strengthens me, which is Philippians 4:13. Or be still and know that I am God. Psalms 46:10. They're grounding. Those are grounding verses. The spoken word is powerful. It interrupts fear-based thinking. Remember, where there is light, there cannot be darkness. Practice daily. Mindset is like a muscle. You don't train it once, you strengthen it every day. Before we go further, I want to invite you into something that pairs beautifully with what we're talking about today. My 21-day detox program begins October 14th, and it's not just about cleansing your body, it's about renewing your mindset. Over the next 21 days, we'll reset together through a simple, nourishing detox plan, mindset and gratitude prompts, gentle supplement support if you want it, recipes, and encouragement each day. The full program is $147, but if you sign up early, you can join for just $97. If you're feeling stuck, this is your chance to start fresh, mind, body, and spirit. I'll drop the link in the show notes for you. Okay, let's look at some practical mindset reset tools. First is that gratitude journal. Again, write down 3 to 10 things you're thankful for each morning. Why this helps? It shifts focus from scarcity to abundance, and it lowers your stress hormones. Do a thought download. Write out every negative or anxious thought. So when you are thinking those thoughts, when you see that thought coming in, write it out. It gets the clutter out of your head and it gets it onto paper, and it helps you look at it to see if it's true or not. And if it's not true, you let it go. Reframing. So if you take one thought and you reframe that thought and you rewrite it positively. So I can't do this becomes, this is different. This is a challenge. It changes your body's stress response just by changing how you're saying or how you're rethinking that thought, reframing that thought. Using truth statements and affirmations. So use scripture, use affirmations to replace lies. That anchors when you have those affirmations or you have scriptures, and I have them all over. When my girls were little and they were struggling with anxiety, I actually did this whole note card thing with several different scriptures on them. And it was just something that they could pull out and they could read and they could just help. It helped calm and anchors your nervous system in safety and in faith. Breath work. Simplest breath work out there. It's called the 3-4-5. When we are stressed, we're breathing from our chest, right? We're not breathing from our diaphragm. That causes the hyperventilation. When we are stressed, it's 3-4-5. Inhale for 3. Inhale through your nose for 3. Hold it for 4. Exhale for 5. That calms that vagus nerve and sends a signal back up that says, I'm okay. I'm safe. We're breathing deep. We're not breathing shallow. We're not going into stress. We're not going into panic attack. We're okay. Awesome, easy way of doing that. And then setting a vision. If you spend 2 to 3 minutes visualizing how you are at your healthiest and happiest self, that builds motivation and rewires your focus for the future. So always having a vision of where you're going. Doesn't have to be big, just has to be a vision, right? So set that vision. It's so important. Remember, consistency beats intensity. Choose 1 or 2 tools and then just practice those daily. Doesn't have to be perfect, progress over perfection, but just try it and see if that helps start you on the path of this mindset reset. So, when you reset your mindset, you reset your hormones. When your brain feels safe, your cortisols regulate. When your cortisol is balanced, your detox pathways open, your digestive system improves, and your energy returns. Everything is connected, and it all begins with what you believe. I've seen clients shift everything simply by working on mindset. One woman I coached said she used to wake up every day dreading the mirror. After we started daily gratitude and faith declaration, she said things like, I don't just look better, I feel like myself again. We're speaking life. That's what mindset can do. It realigns you with who you really are. I hope today reminded you that you are not stuck. You have more influence over your healing than you think because the power of your mind is incredible. Start small, 1 reframe, 1 prayer, one deep breath at a time. And if this message spoke to you, I'd love for you to follow or subscribe her podcast, leave a quick review, and share this episode with a friend who could use some encouragement today. Those small actions help more women hear the message of hope and healing. And if you're ready to take the next step, join me for the 21-day detox program. We'll reset body and mind together. The link is in the show notes. Remember, you are wonderfully and beautifully made. Your body, mind, and spirit were designed to heal and to thrive. Until next time, this is Coach Mindy with the Her Podcast, empowering women to reset their hormones, reclaim their health, and restore their joy. Have a great week.